All right, John.
Hey, give John a layup, man. I don't want to hear him complain.
Well, it's all right. It's all right. I see how it rolls. We get pop culture, and then.
Hey, this is the first time that anybody has ever questioned our integrity, John. Danny, you know that, right?
Team right. I see it already.
We played probably 50 of these, and no one has ever questioned our integrity, man. I'm offended.
Yeah,
all right, John, it's a pleasure to meet you, bro. My name is Kevin Wilson. That's Danny Pena. Thank you very much for taking the time. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, and we've been looking forward to today for a long time, man.
Oh, man, thank you guys so much for the opportunity. I've always saw it on, online and whatnot, and just, I'm not really like a crazy Facebooker, so I just kind of look at, and I saw that you guys did one with Greg, and it was awesome. Just positive energy for our beautiful sport. So it's just thanks for having me.
Oh, Marple, dude, the first Greg show, that was our Mona Lisa, right, Danny?
Yeah, that opened up the door for us, man, because John, the door was shut pretty tight for BMX podcasters, man. It was really difficult to get anybody to come on. So me and Kevin just focused on regular guys that like BMX, and we just did that, and we were having fun with it. And then all of a sudden, we just look at, you're in front of us right now.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of look at it. You're in front of me, so it's equal sides here. I just appreciate the opportunity. And thank you
man,
guys.
it's great.
I'm always here to help, and just hopefully I can look good for the camera still, whatever.
Cool.
Well, I'll just jump right in it, Kevin, if you don't mind, man.
That's your thing, man.
Yeah. We got John the Jackal Purse on. Now, John, I do a lot of video reviews. I watch lots of BMX footage all the time. Kevin knows, and Kevin does the same thing. He makes shorts out of it. There's a period of time, John, where you were in front a lot. Like I do race reviews. I go, this guy was in front all the time, man. And I apologize for this, John. I know you have titles, but I don't know how many you have. Can you run through that with us a little bit so everybody kind of knows what you're about? If you can remember off the top of your head.
Well, I mean, the biggest punchline is 3-time world champion, 3-time national champion, and 2-time Hall of Fame inductee.
There you go. That's awesome.
Yeah, but technically on the world championship side, back in the IBMXF days, it was 15 boys and 16 boys.
Yeah.
Down south in Santiago, Chile, and then in Brisbane, Australia. Actually, that's where the Worlds are this year. And then I was fortunate enough to win the 1997 UCI Elite Men's title in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. So that was the big one for me. Pre-Olympics, that was pretty much the 3 things you could do. And as far as titles would be, I think we call it the career triple crown, because I won the NBL title, AA Pro National title in 1995, 1996, and the ABA AA Pro National title in 1997. So there's about, I think, 7, maybe 8 of us that only won the 3 titles, and but this sport has progressed so many different ways. It's like, when do you start the timelines of when things happen? So it would be unfair to say that, some other riders wouldn't be part of a triple crown, whatever you want to call it, because of the other titles and the other sanctions, once upon a time. But
how do you feel about that, John? Like, does it bother you that there's only one sanction now, or do you think that's a disadvantage, or do you think it's an advantage that everything is put together in one big show? How do you feel about that?
I'm pretty neutral. I was always the one that, everybody was like always saying, hey guys, you want to race 1 main for the win, or 3? I'm like, I'm neutral. I'm like, whatever goes. I'm pretty even kilter. I mean, it's debatable on both sides, ABA versus the NBL. Now it's USA BMX. Unfortunately, NBL succumbed to some business scenarios. But if it wasn't for the ABA and USA BMX, a lot of track operators and those struggling families that like to hold these races for these riders would have been a little bit more financially hurt overall if the ABA wouldn't have stepped in and bought them. So it's, it was one of those things that we are one sanction now. Let's try to make the most positive out of it. We can remember things, and that's what Facebook does for us. And that's kind of like all my little stuff I do on Facebook is always just the reminders from Facebook. Hey, 15 years ago, XYZ, stuff like that. So we have reminders of what happened once upon a time, but moving forward, we are where we are right now. It's like the power of now, living in the now right now. What can we do right now to make the sport the best we can? So I just hope that, the powers that be can continue to be proactive versus reactive. Let's continue to try to do the best we can for the sport. Let's try to do the best we can for the professionals. And let's make sure that we do actually bring some awareness to those professionals, because they do matter, in my opinion.
Awesome. Now you won back truck. Oh, sorry. I was going to ask him, Kevin. He won back-to-back trucks, I think. Is that right?
Oh my goodness. Let me count those. So 1995, they started giving trucks away, and actually I won the first one.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, that was at the mid-season. They had a mid-season in Orlando every year. For the 2 years that I won them, you had a mid-season finale, which is just outstanding.
Yeah.
It was in Orlando, but for 1995, the Pro Open title or championship race was in Egg Harbor. Egg Harbor. That's New Jersey, right? Egg Harbor, New Jersey. Yeah, for a Sea-Doo, for a watercraft. So I won mid-year. I won an S10 Chevrolet S10 truck. Lowered in the back in the day. I forget who was it. Was it Progressive Wheels? I think it was Progressive Wheels. Yeah. Was a sponsor, and they had wheels on it. It was lowered. It was pretty cool. And then the Sea-Doo was cool. I had to find somebody to drive that one back to Texas for me and pull it back to Texas. That was fun. But at the end of the year, in 1995, I won another car, another truck, in 95 as well. So that was pretty incredible, to say the least. But then that was my first actual, that's the $10 fun fact for today. I was unable to achieve like a national championship in the amateur ranks, believe it or not, as long as I was in the amateur ranks. And that was technically for about 9 years, from 1981 to 1990. Got really close. I had some leading. I think one of the closest ones, because I raced NBL because I have a Labor Day birthday right after Labor Day, so it never changed. So September 7th never changes for the NBL Grand. So I remember Brent Romero, which was one of my biggest, not rivals, but biggest competitors. But everybody was a competitor, but that guy was just a monster. And I think I played second fiddle to him for a while in the mid '80s. Then towards the end, I was battling with David Milham, and I think I was leading out one main event, and then I slipped pedals on the third straightaway on the step up and just lost that one. But fortunately, right after high school, I turned pro a little bit earlier than most, kind of with a lot of the guys, Steve Veltman, Kenny May, Matt Hayden, Eric Carter. Mike King had already turned, I think, 2 years prior, but Brian Lopes, I think, was in that era in 1990 where they all turned pro. So I went for it. Took me a while, 15 years, actually, believe it or not, to get into the first title scenario. So real fortunate.
I got one more. I want to go back one step, John. When you win a truck or an automobile or any big prize with a sanctioning body in BMX, is it like winning a car on The Price is Right, where you have to pay all the taxes and all kinds of strings attached? Or do you get this car free, done, no strings at all? You just take it home and you're good.
No, I actually I did have to pay the taxes on it.
Okay.
I think we thought it might have been a gift, but it ended up not being a gift. Because in 1996, I was fortunate enough to repeat the title and won another truck at the end of the year and a CR 125. I think I won 2 trucks in 1996 too. So I think I won 4 trucks, Sea-Doo, and a motorcycle. It was just, it was gnarly. It was even gnarly on Uncle Sam. That was some fun years with Uncle Sam. So I was just really fortunate.
You kept all 4 of them. You paid the tax to Kevin?
No, they kind of distributed to family members, and I did have to. They could sell some for the tax liability. That's where I learned pretty quick. Becoming successful on a standard 1040 was probably not the best thing moving forward. So that's when I kind of incorporated my name back then to help with tax liability. So that was pretty cool scenario. It's kind of changed it up.
Dude, can you imagine, John?
One more, Danny. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
So when we first started out, you read off a lot of titles, bro, and when you're that successful, all these titles, is it like your children? Where if I said, well, does one mean more to you than the other? You could say, no, they all mean the same. Or is it possible to pinpoint one of those titles that may be a little bit more cherished to you than others?
Well, my favorite is the UCI title by far. That is one event a year, and you, as a professional, depending on how long you're in the pro class, you only have that one chance a year to really go out for that one lap. Now it's a little bit different. They have World Cups. They have a different scenario how they do it, but still there is the World Championship at the end of the year as well. So we didn't have World Cups where we had like a separate, a separate event or a separate series. So it's just ABA, NBL, and the World Championship is kind of where, our stuff was accomplished. UCI Worlds probably number one, and then honestly NBL and ABA pretty much equal standing, because NBL 1995 was my first national title like ever as a rider. Backed it up in 96 and then ABA 97. But they all are special. They all are special in their own ways because there actually was three different categories. ABA had a different energy as NBL. NBL had a different energy as ABA, and then UCI Worlds has a different energy. But my favorite by far would be the UCI Worlds, the one that really means a lot to me, because you get to wear those and display those rainbow stripes forever.
Got it. Cool. Thank you. All right, Danny.
Yeah, there's a couple riders that I noticed that you had some really good battles with, and Greg Romero. I saw some really good battles with you and Greg. And how'd you feel about Greg? You guys seem very evenly matched. I mean, you both had some crazy speed. Did you get along with Greg? Did you guys talk in staging? Did you ignore each other? How did that work out?
Well, there was a big misconception about my persona back in the day. I was super focused, super serious. When I went to race, when I went traveling, it was not to say that other riders didn't take it serious, but I was there to perform a task, and I was able to switch focus from standard John to kind of like the beast mode John, I guess you'd say. I don't want to be in that group with Eli Tomac, but that beast mode, that challenge mode, to where it's like, let's go, flick the switch and go. But Greg was, I think, a little bit younger than I was, and he was on his way in. He was on the firm Robinson. He rode for GT as well. Yeah. So he was on his way, and actually the World Championship came down between him and I. So I let out of the first corner, and man, it was super fast track, and there was this like small set of doubles before like a pull tabletop in the middle of the straightaway. And admittedly so, that was one of my I guess I wouldn't say weakness, because I don't think there's a weakness. It was a less of a strength was pull manualing. And I overjumped that double, and then I kind of botched that table, and he caught me and passed me going into turn 2, and that was gnarly. The track that they built there was awesome, a little bit longer than most, and I was able to kind of catch back up and then pass him down the last straightaway at the on the first. So it was a pretty dynamic moment. But what the backstory of that moment, which nobody understands, is I actually practiced throughout the week. Greg Hill is my team manager and mentor, which is just, I probably wouldn't be sitting here talking to you guys if it wasn't for him, because he was integral to everything. And we could probably talk about that in a minute. But there was actually a local track next door or close by, and it was one of those things to where there was a topic on the track. There was that tabletop, and the rhythm section was kind of a longer section, and I just made a point to do maintenance throughout the week, but my biggest focus was their last straightaway, which was similar or the same as this one. And that's what really put me over top at the end. So it was a lot that led into that moment. You know, I was in the middle of even the weekend before was an NBL National in Calgary, doing a road ride and on Monday in the mountains of Canada, just intervaling up and down the mountain. It was just there's so much more that goes into that one lap. You see the end result, but there is a backstory, and everybody has a backstory of what led up to that. And I'm just really, really fortunate to be in the situation I was in. And that was a hard fought one because I had an issue in the semi. I had a slow start in the semi.
Yeah.
I had to come back from a non-qualifying position to qualify even to the main event. So it was one of those. That was kind of like a wake-up call. Hey man, you can't sleep on the gate in the main. So it was a great journey to the end there.
Yeah, it's interesting because you were in a really sweet spot of BMX in those 90s because Crank TV was on national television. So I was able to watch a lot of your races on Crank TV. I don't know if you remember Crank TV. Yeah, so
4:30 on Mondays, Fox Sports.
Yeah, dude. I used to set the VCR so I could watch it when I got home, man. And you had some great battles with also Danny Nelson. So there's some key riders that I think about in that era that were always out in front. And you three are the ones that I can kind of remember right now. But I was going to ask you, man, how did you feel about the French riders coming in, like Levesque and what was the other gentleman's name, Ayer, when they were coming? Yeah, did you have to approach racing French riders in a different sense, like because did they ride extremely different than the Americans? I know that their handlebars were a little small and all little things like that, but did you notice anything about it? Did you have to approach them differently, or was it just all the same to you?
No, it was just basically adapt and conquer type scenario. So it was more of, back then you couldn't just jump on YouTube and look at a video of Christophe Levesque training in France. You know what I mean? It was a little bit different. You had magazines, you had you guys talked about the video stuff back in the props and trans.
Yeah.
But those guys were another level. I mean, whether it's on power or technique, they had everything all encompassed in one. You know, at that time, in the 90s or in the 80s, really especially the 90s in my era, things were a little bit more Olympic in Europe maybe than they ever were. Those guys had really, really good country support for trainers and all that kind of stuff. So it was different. It was different. USA Cycling was not the same scenario for us. It was a different, scenario completely. But that was what I noticed and found out just from, finding out the facts of what, your research, your due diligence. But really, the due diligence was getting smoked on the track by Christophe going, okay, well, what do I do now? Hey, we got to step this up and just figure it out, because you can be like top level and continue to excel and maybe do new things in your sport. But we were doing the best we could for what we had, but our tracks were not the same as European tracks. NBL had a little bit more of a technical track than the ABA did, depending on where you went. But still, they probably still weren't anywhere near where the European tracks were. So those guys had a different way that they rode, how they grew up riding and training, and just the power aspect, the speed. Yeah. So it was one of those things. Okay, let's study this guy. And figure out how we can adapt and conquer. And that's what I was able to do, on my own, and with the help of Greg, especially when I got on Redline.
Yeah, I have a whole section of Greg questions I haven't got to yet. I'm just asking my own right now because Greg was excited. He's like, man, you got to ask him this. And I told Greg, I go, dude, just text all that to me and then I'll just roll off. He's got some good stuff, man. And he's got some recordings too, but I better not play those.
He's gonna put me on the spot, and he's not even on this video right now. So he's already got it lined up for me. Yeah, Christophe and Thomas. Thomas was a little bit later. At first, you had Christophe, and you had a lot of the guys, Basta Beaver. You had Wilco, over a lot of the guys. My apologies for forgetting all the names, but there was some riders that were just like, oh, here we go. And they didn't come over all the time, though. It was more of like Christmas Classic, a couple weeks type scenario. And then, but Christoph was one that stayed, one of the first ones. And of course, Dale Holmes as well. It stayed.
Yeah, Dale was fast.
Neil Wood stayed. So you had a European contingent living in California, and man, all of those riders stepped it up. All of those riders stepped it up for us. And I was just fortunate just to kind of do my thing, and I figured out some quirks that Christoph had, and I was able to capitalize on that, and it was a fun, him and I were like heads up for that Sea-Doo in 1995 in Egg Harbor. It was just like a special race. I don't think it was a Pro Series race. It was just a race that was the final for that, I think, or something like that. But
yeah,
he was just in 1995 was a pivotal year when he was here. And I remember things like, everybody has a backstory. How did you get to the finish line? Well, on that one, it had kind of like a tall gate, and he had this massive leg speed, and I needed to speed my legs up. So I found a spot next door. I think there was a downhill grade. So I was just speeding my legs up, doing sprints, speeding my legs up. And for me, that was the one thing that helped me on that track, because I transitioned that little sneak peek cram, course to get into the main event, and I was able to win that the Sea-Doo. But it was just always figuring out a way, how can I adapt and conquer? It was one of those deals. And that guy, there was no getting around it, man. He was just a massive person that elevated the sport to another level, even inside of its own peakiness. So it was just incredible time era.
Hey, I have a quick question. Something just kind of popped in. Out of all the training you've done over the years for all the big races, is there one type of training method that is commonly thought of to be the best, or be productive, that you found that didn't work for you, or that you say, this really doesn't work for me, I'd rather not do that? Was there one training method that stands out, or everything, all of the tropes for training are good for you? Were good for you? Does anything stand out?
Well, the interesting thing about that was Greg. That backstory kind of goes back to Greg, and in my early days, one of the first person that gave me a sponsor was Bill Grad with ODI, was pivotal in its own era. Had a little small salary and grip sponsor, and just that energy you got, connected to S&M, connected to GHP frames, connected to a lot of different frames back in the day. But whenever the first thing that kind of led to like my next level was balance. But Greg Hill was working for Answer at the time, and he persuaded Harry Larry, God rest his soul, to sponsor me when Mike King did really well in downhill and went on GT. So Balance picked up the diesel Matt Hayden, and then they were going to go, back in the day, they put two pros in the cars. That way you could kind of more bang for your buck, I guess. And I was on the team with Matt. And then, one of the biggest one, you talk about Danny Nelson, but one of the biggest ones I came across early on was Terry Tonette, Elon Karavich, Gary Ellis, Charles Townsend, some of those powerhouses. And that was I wouldn't even say on their way out, because they still were in the sport multiple years while I was still in the mid 90s. But it was like, hey, Greg, how do I beat Gary Ellis? He's like, dude, one thing you need to do right now is you need to do sprints. And we talked about how to get a sprint category. And at that time I worked, kind of full time, early 90s. It wasn't until 1994 when I got on Balance where I finally was able to, or actually 1995 was when I went kind of like full time BMX. So I worked full time, and then I was doing sprints at midnight in the front of my house. So it's, it was doing what you needed to do. And that was kind of the answer to your question, Kevin. It was doing what was needed to do. Okay, these are my circumstances. Let's make lemonade out of lemons. This is not the greatest scenario, but we got to get the work done. I remember I had a road ride that I had missed that day, so I did it at night, with a flashlight taped to my handlebars. It was like a 20-mile ride around the Loop 336 in Conroe, but since I just had to get it, probably a lot of OCD, but I got the work in. But it was doing what was necessary. And for me, my training acumen was so, I wouldn't say bizarre, but it was so hardcore that people would just shake their head and just probably wouldn't believe what I used to do. It's like,
dude, we've heard stories about your training, about what you had to do.
Yeah, that's coming.
So to quantify, I think what you just said is like, I'm training for Dirty Fest and I'm training to come back to race 58 beginner, right? And what I think you just said was, don't throw everything at the wall at one time. Look at the specific race that you're preparing for and tailor your training for that particular race and or competitors that are going to be in that race. Is that accurate or no? Did I misunderstand you?
No, that's exactly the same thing. It's just like my story with Egg Harbor. Okay, we got a downhill first straight away, and you need leg speed. You need fast legs. How do you get it right now? Type scenario adapting. So, like, for example, when I asked Greg, hey, Greg, how do I beat Gary Ellis? He didn't say, oh, you got to get in the gym. You got to get XYZ. He said sprints first. Sprints are your number one thing, which that is the number one thing on the list to do, which is most of the time the most overlooked is sprinting, because that is your first start, the first, we call it the power transfer. And then we still have the rule for 30 feet for the amateurs here. And I think we do have for pros. UCI doesn't have that rule.
Can't move over.
You can't move over. I think they're not in the UCI, you can move over, period, which is, I think I like the rule. I actually like more than 30 feet. I like the first hill. Back in the day with NBL, they had the stripes down the hill, so it was down the hill to the bottom. I think that's fair, just in my opinion. I like that. I don't really like somebody getting cut off right out of the gate. That could be debated, but still, everybody wants to do the best we can and have the best race. So let's allow the riders to get up to speed before we actually are allowed to move over on people. That's just my opinion.
Dude, this is awesome, man. Awesome. I looked at it at first. I looked at it like, I'm just going to throw all this training out. Like, I'm going to go to the gym and do the treadmill for an hour, and then I'm going to go down to the track for an hour, and then next day I'm going to do this. Not really with any plan, but I'm going to think about a plan. Maybe I'll talk to Danny and he'll give me a plan. But that's pretty cool.
I'm going to tell him, just get behind me and follow me. You'll be fine.
Hey, I've always wondered this, John. When people say do sprints, how far do the sprints have to be? Do you tailor the sprints? Do you sprint from a starting gate all the time? Do you sprint from a rolling like a real slow roll and then sprint? How do you find one better than the other, or what's normally done? I've never done a sprint in my entire life.
No, they're all necessary. That'd be your first thing to do for sure. Is the sprinting, slow to a roll, tap the brake. Once you get, and you got to. That's a balancing act in itself. So that's like bike handling control, and then you got to feel just right. You know what I mean? You got to be straight up and whatnot, and then you got to take your finger off the lever. I didn't start with my finger on the lever, so I would always take my finger off the lever and grab the grip and go. But like when you're doing a slow to roll sprint, right at the end, you actually have to raise your right pedal up pretty much at the level of your down tube, because you are at a roll. And by the time you engage and you actually go into full effort, your pedals are pretty much where they need to be, like gate start wise. So it allows you to build power in your upper body, and of course, even power in your legs on your lower body. But that's kind of the way slow and roll goes. But, back in the day, we did it off of bricks. You didn't have we have the sprint blocks now, which is awesome. Sean Dwight's kind of taken, sprinting to another level. And I think he's got some pretty crazy electronics that are going to be soon with the sprint block and all that kind of stuff. But bricks, whatever, from a standing start. So I call them power sprints, but power sprints is when you get into gear manipulation. So you can actually change your gear for gear manipulation too. So there's so many different ways to sprint. It's not just one thing. Off the block, and then power with gear manipulation, and then downhill. I've never really been one to change my gear or crank length. I'm not really into that. A lot of people shorten the cranks and shorten and slow the gear just to go like flat spinning. It's like, no. If I'm going to go fast, I'm going to go fast down a hill. I don't care if I'm going 38 miles an hour, and that's what I need to do. So I kind of was always keep the bike as close as possible race wise. The only time I did do gear manipulation is what I call power sprint, where you're doing, to answer your question, about 30 yards, within 100 feet. 30 yard, 100 yard sprints. But here's the thing. So we get into the wackiness. So back in the day, flat pedals were the main thing, and I did 5 sets of 3. So I do 25, 225. Well, actually, 3 25 yards is kind of like a warm up. But then my sets were 2 25s and a 50, and then it goes and then it was like 2 25s and a 75, 2 25s and 100, and two sets of 25 and a 200-yard sprint. So I was doing 2 football fields down a hill sprints. That was what, for me, kind of took it to the next level. I did things that nobody did, and it was that little bit of an extra, the edge that I had overall on the class.
A 200-yard sprint, even downhill, Kevin, is gonna make you throw up, dude. That's insane.
I'm right now we're about 20 yards, man. But dude, that's sick, man. I have to add, John. I have to ask, dude. Did you ever break a chain and do sprinting? Because that would be deadly, bro.
Thankfully, no. And that 200 yard was a slight decline, where it allows you to become unweighted. But fortunately, no. Like I've heard just the horror stories of chains breaking. I remember a story with you talking about Greg Romero. I think a chain broke on him in California one time sprinting, and actually got a face injury and stuff like that from that. So, and I know a lot of guys, probably there's a handful of guys that probably have the story about their chain breaking. Fortunately, my chain never broke on doing sprinting. It did. That's a Greg story. We'll see if that's on his list. I got a story that he'll probably say something about that, but about chains breaking and chains coming off and whatnot. But fortunately, no, I did not blow a chain. I don't think ever on.
I got one thing before we get into Greg's questions, because John, I think, and this is solely my opinion, and Kevin, I don't know if you agree. I think you are the reason that everybody's wearing full face helmets right now. You were like the first mainstream dude that I remember. I think Alan said he did it too. Is that right, Kevin?
Yeah.
Or Brian might have did it. Brian was wearing a bell helmet. Yeah. But I was like, I remember watching you race on TV going, is he wearing a full face helmet? Because nobody wore full. It was like, if you wore a full face helmet, you were considered new to the sport and you didn't know any better. So you got a full face helmet. Everybody was wearing open face. So have you heard that before, John? And what made you decide I'm going to go full-on bell helmet, full face? What made you decide to do that?
This is on John's Wikipedia page.
Okay, cool. All right, I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's a great story. So, oh man, that back when I first started, I had a full face helmet. I think, I wore a Houston Oilers football helmet my first race, but I had kind of the old school. I remember I had the old school full face helmet, and that the Echo had their full face helmet back in the day, and I always loved the Bell Moto helmets, and back in those days too, a competitor of mine, his name was Bingo Pasha, had a Moto 3, and man, I love that helmet. I don't know if he ever knows that, but it was one of those funny things, but everybody ended up on full open face helmets, and then in ABA you didn't have to wear a JOFA, but in NBL you had to wear a JOFA, or a mouth guard.
Yeah. So
the story behind that was I believe it was 1996. Actually, at the Orlando mid-season finale NBL for another truck. I actually went down. I was wearing one of the new carbon helmets. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I can't remember the name of it. One of the new carbon helmets, and I went down. I had the old school JOFA, and I got my whole face was scraped up, my chin, my cheek, the whole nine. Even if you look at some of the photos from that race, you actually see, I got a raspberry on my cheek from crashing. And at the time, my roommate was in the motocross, Todd Kirby, and we were doing, if you guys remember the Stick It t-shirts, Stick It number plates, and we were doing t-shirts. He had a t-shirt company. He was in college, and then for BMX we brought in plates. So we did kind of like a moto plate. If you look at the Stick It plate, it kind of looks like a moto inspired plate. And they were in a motocross, and they were just always kidding me about not kidding me, but like, dude, you gotta like stop wearing that open face helmet. And then when I crashed, he was like, "That's it." He's like, "That's it. I'm gonna because he was a helmet painter too." And then I was able to get a little sponsorship with Bell, and I got a Bell Moto 6, and my buddy painted it. But earlier in the season, because I debuted that helmet at the Grands in 1996, NBL Grands, that would be September 1996. But it was a race, I believe it was I think it was an ABA race, it might have been, in Denver, I think Denver, Colorado. He's like, "Hey, take my helmet this weekend and race in this helmet. Stop with that." So I actually started to it's kind of me, but it was actually through another person, Todd Kirby, and we always kid him about that. It's like, dude, you pretty much, it was kind of 99%, open and 1% full face, and now it's completely the opposite. So it's like I always kid with Todd Kirby. I'm like, Todd and Sean were my roommates back in the day. They were brothers and raced motocross and supercross, Astrodome type stuff back in the day. But he's the one that brought it back through me, But I agreed to it, and then I think Brian had a helmet getting painted in a similar time era. Yeah. I think I kind of just hit the track a little bit sooner than he did, but he was probably the second one that came in with. I think he was on Schwinn. He had the Schwinn full face.
Yeah.
So,
for those watching, he's talking about Brian Foster.
Yeah, Brian Foster, right?
Yeah, Brian Foster. Yeah, Brian Foster was probably the second one, that kind of debuted the pro class with the full face helmet. And there might have been some other guys, I'm not sure, but it was just interesting how things just kind of elevate and change, from kind of a pro standpoint. I guess you could sit around and say, okay, it's debatable if John first brought, full face helmets back into BMX, but did I? What? But if I did, then do pros really matter? Are the customers, are the other membership, the amateurs, are they actually acknowledging what pros do? So do pros matter? So that's where it's really debatable. We could have a whole nother podcast about what could be done and what could be done for pros. But in my opinion, pros do need to be accountable and responsible for who they are, but also at the same token, I think they need to be recognized by the sanctioning bodies and to say, hey, these guys do matter. They're actually an influence on the key, amateur membership. So it's that's just my take on that.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that, because you're arguably one of the most winningest pros ever, and you were wearing a full face helmet. And at that point, any other rider, younger rider, could look at it and go, if John can wear a full face helmet, I'm going to wear a full face helmet. And that's my opinion. Because when I saw you doing it, I go, man, that's got to be heavy. That's got to be hard to breathe out of, but I conformed, man. By 1998, I was in a full face helmet. And I'm like,
you know why?
Why is that?
Because you were an adult and you were smart about it, and you weren't trying to be cool like everybody else. Where when we were 18, 17 years old, we wanted to be cool, right? That's why we didn't want to wear full face, because it wasn't cool, dude. You're an old man. You got stuff to lose when you're in 1998 or whatever it was, 96.
And it was weird though, John. When you first put that helmet on, you're very aware of the weight. And I'm and I told Kevin this story too. I have a bad habit of looking down when I'm riding. I don't know why I do that, and I try consciously not to do it. And I was looking down, pedaling really hard, and I remember pulling my head up and feeling a cramp in my neck. I'm like, ow! Because the helmet was a motorcycle helmet. It wasn't like the modern ones now. They're the fly helmets and all that, Troy Lee, they're all light. But that one was pretty heavy, and I felt it on the back. I was like, oh dang, I could kind of feel that, Guys, it's Danny Pena over from the BMXPERTS Podcast. I'm excited to announce a little partnership we got going on with SkewedRacewear.com with Cindy Partee. Cindy put together the race kits for us that we're going to debut out in Dirty Fest. They look really, really cool. We should be getting those pretty soon. As you can see, here's some examples of what Cindy can do. Now, the cool thing about this is you can get a full-on race kit for about $195. Now, I know there's some great options out there with Troy Lee and, of course, Fly and things like that. But remember, you're going to spend over $200, $250, and you're going to get a blank slate. With Cindy, you can basically tell her exactly what you want. You can put the logos where you want. You can put your name where you want, numbers on the back.
fully custom colors, any design you want. We're really, really excited. As you can see, some of the Send It crews already rocking that apparel. So I'm looking forward to getting the kit. If you guys are interested in this, again, it's www.skewedracewear.com. Reach out to Cindy and she'll get you all hooked up. Thanks a lot, guys.
But that was my first experience with it, and I'm going to credit you with it, dude. I don't know. How do you feel about that, Kev? Would you agree on that?
Well, it's on his Wikipedia page. It has to be true.
Definitely.
That's the extent of my research, John. But I have one question before we go. It says that you were one of the most dirtiest riders. Dude, is that true? Do you consider yourself a dirty rider? And if you do, was it well-deserved? Or do you totally dispute that and say, that's bullshit, I'm not a dirty rider? What's your thoughts on that whole thing?
Oh, I dispute it, actually. I'm not the dirtiest rider. What had happened for me was when I first turned pro, I was younger, and I can understand now riding, say, for example, 5-6 years into the pro class and having a young rider come in and just kind of get in the way and kind of override maybe and whatnot. I can see that, now. And I used to be kind of like I used to say, mind your manners. If you don't mind your manners, I'll teach you how to mind your manners type scenario. But it really wasn't vindictive. It wasn't vindictive. It was like sometimes there was just some younger riders that just were kind of one of those deals to where they were just kind of in the way scenario. So kind of fast forward to me, that's me, the guy that's overriding and maybe going for it and getting put down by these guys, knocked over corners, cut off. I got ran into an announcer's tower one time. So
I saw it.
For me it was more of like just kind of like
maybe self-preservation.
You're getting kind of backed into the corner. What do? You just continue to stay in the corner? You come out swinging. So for me, it was just like, okay, these guys are going to put me down. I'm gonna go for it, and maybe I'm going to pay them back or whatever. Maybe that probably wasn't the right thing to do. If I look back and say, well, should I just taken it? But sometimes it's like to prove a point. Sometimes you got the other rider, that other competitor needs to understand that he can't do that to you. You can't be pushover, whatever that may be, whether it be getting cut out off a gate or getting knocked out off the track. Sometimes you just got to defend yourself. That was the word I was looking for. Try to defend yourself. So it was really more one of the first nicknames for me, which I just had a mental block on it, but I dispute that. It wasn't what people thought. It was more just me getting tired of picking myself up from the ground from one of the older pros putting me there for me just to kind of defend myself. And kind of in the time, I think as media kind of was peaking too, there was more than one magazine and type scenario, things just start. I think that's where we started to get, they put me on the terrible 10 and whatnot. But it was just one of those things to where I was just defending myself and fighting back. But I do.
Man.
What's that? That's what Greg had started off with the story he had told me, and Kevin was, I guess there was a bunch of pros like facing you, and you were arguing with a bunch of pros. Yeah, and that was one of Greg's first stories, and he pulled you aside and started talking to you. Can you kind of summarize that a little bit? What happened there?
That was at the peak of it, and it was San Antonio, and it was just one of those things. I think I was going through the trials and tribulations, of the pro class. But for me, I turned AA pro pretty quickly. Back in the day, even in my younger days, I went from back in the day, you got 3 first places or 7 starts, and you were a novice. Back then, there was actually what it was called a novice, beginner, novice, expert. But when you got to novice, all you had to do was get 5 wins, and you were an expert. So I was expert within like 6 weeks of starting as an 8-year-old rider in 1981. Wow. And then in AA pro, like I started in San Antonio as an A pro, and that's when, like I said, Beltman, Kenny May, Matt Hayden, Brian Lopes, Eric Carter, those guys were in the class as well. So, I mean, it was just stacked. I was younger than these guys. I just jumped into the lion's den, so to speak. And there was some crashes and some stuff that went down when we actually ran 3 mains, once upon a time. So the long story short is I won both days in San Antonio. First time out, $525 a day,
Nice. Yeah.
$1,050 in an envelope of cash, on the way home. It was just like, oh my gosh. It was just amazing to start that way, because you just, okay, I'm a pro, here we go. What's going to happen? And fortunately, I was kind of, at the time, MCS Eagle Snacks had kind of disbanded after the 1989 brands. And I think that's when I may have slipped that pedal, I was talking about. But I turned pro in January 1990. And not too long after that, it might have been a couple months later, I doubled again in El Paso. Won A Pro both days there. And I think those guys, because a couple months had passed, had already kind of turned AA Pro. So it was a different line of riders, but I run both days. So here I am, AA Pro, March, spring of 1990, here we go. But not sure exactly when that it was another San Antonio indoor race. And it just probably something happened with somebody. And it was just interesting, because back in the day, people didn't just like jump and go on the cool down rides. They kind of just hang out. They crossed the finish line, actually, believe it or not, and then would maybe go watch the other laps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like now it's like you don't stop. You just keep going and you cool down. And it's one of those things. Something happened on that lap, and they were all, the majority of the heads were standing there, all the older pros. And I just said, I think Greg's thing probably has me cussing, but I may have was cussing. And I was just pointing, and I'm like, you and you, I'm going to kick all of you guys' asses, every one of you. And I was just pointing at all. These are the top guys, Gary Ellis, Charles Townsend, just the top heads of the class. And just one of those things, going through the mixes of starting as a young pro. And I didn't really have a lot of support out there. I'd come off of a sponsor that disbanded. I went into a pro class with 0 sponsorship. So it's just really driving all over the United States, doing the best I can, and working in between to make the ends meet, and then just getting thrashed by these guys. And it was just one of those things where I was always really defensive. I'm just, you back me in the corner, I want to come out swinging. So it was one of those deals where all those guys were lined up. It was almost picturesque. It was just amazing how they all were lined up like that. Like, I don't even think you can do that. Like, I don't think you can do like 8 to 10 pros lined up in a row in like a half circle when you're pointing at all of them, like talking to them. It was just one of those memorializing, pictures in my mind that I have forever.
What were they doing? They just sitting there going, what the hell is this guy talking about? Were they giving you any feedback, or they just taking it? They just kind of took it. They kind of took it, probably just clowning me. I'm like, sure. And they wrote off, and maybe they had all the intents purposes to clown me. Maybe I was being a little bit wackadoo, but like I wasn't crazy, but I was just intense, man. It was like, okay, you're gonna knock me down. Maybe somebody put me over a corner or put me down. It's like, that's what it's like. I'm coming. It's just going to take me a matter of time, and that was the early 90s. That was probably from 1990 to 1993, probably even earlier than that, maybe 91, 92, when I first was in AA. Because I turned, like I said, spring of 1990, I was AA Pro. So, Danny, what was Greg's part of the story, dude? What did Greg say that he did, what it said?
Well, that's where he leads into it. He said, ask John how we became friends. So I guess a conversation happened after that incident that John's referring to. Do you know what he's talking about, John?
Oh yeah, El Paso, and I think Greg was racing because we raced each other, and something had happened at El Paso. I don't remember exactly what happened. This is a different race, maybe the next year, maybe. Because that was 1990. I'd already run AA Pro in El Paso, so they didn't return there in 1990. So this is 1991 plus, to where still early in my years, just battling with these guys and doing what I could. But that's when I think he did something, or he overheard something. Maybe I was saying something to some other guy, and he's like, "Hey, come here, man." come here. And he's like, come over here. Let's talk. Let's talk.
Yeah.
So little did I know at the time, the impact that he had in the sport. I remember Greg Hill when I was younger. But we're standing on the side of the starting hill, just face to face. And he's like, if you want to kick my ass, let's go into the parking lot or whatever. And I'm like, well, just basically barking at each other. But it was a different bark. It was a bark where we probably knew that nothing was going to happen, but it was two people really finding themselves. It's really, really interesting way of saying that. Greg and I had such a bond. It was just absolutely amazing. And it started pretty much at that moment when we're staring at each other on the side of the starting hill. Here we have a tenured pro, from the 70s. This is 1991 or 2. This is a long time he's been a pro. You know what I mean? So you're talking to one of the best that's ever thrown a leg over a BMX bike, and you're having an argument on the side of the starting hill while everybody's finishing the race. And but it was just one of those things where, I was able to hear what he had to say, and that relationship started from that moment. It was pretty amazing because of what started and what it ended up being, the road and the journey I had, especially getting on balance. He was the reason I got on Redline, because he had switched over from Answer to Redline and revitalized the Redline brand. Balance had issues in, I think, mid 1996, pulled me over to Redline. And then that's when we really, really were able to kind of really work directly hand in hand and eye to eye on everything as far as training goes. But not even all of the training really started at that moment. It wasn't really till 1997, believe it or not. It's a lot different back in the day, but it wasn't, I lifted weights in high school. We had, I was in athletics. I didn't do PE. We would do weightlifting and whatnot, but it wasn't really till the month before the ABA Grands in 1997 before I actually really exclusively squatted.
Oh, wow.
Weighted squats and weightlifting for BMX. It was before that, it was all of just the intense stuff I used to do on the bike. And then also with push-ups, pull-ups, crunches, back extensions, plyometric jumps was a big thing that we did, before the 1997 season. So when we were talking about it earlier, it's a step. You can't just jump into the most intense training ever. It's just kind of like a stairway up to, you got to acclimate the body. There's so many different connective tissue, ligament type scenario. And that's where a lot of the riders, I think, can get themselves in trouble pretty quick if they just jump in the gym too soon. And it's the same thing with the riders that I help and train to this day. I take them on a very, very slow journey to get their body ready to acclimate for weight training. So it was a pretty amazing journey.
So correct me if I'm wrong, Danny. Didn't Greg say something about he talked to John and said, John, if you want to win, follow me. Do what I tell you to do. If not, shut up. Am I summarizing it correctly?
No, that's about right. Yeah, he basically told him my way or the highway type conversation. I think that's what he was explaining to us.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's to be on the other side of a talking to by Greg Hill is a pretty intense moment, But for me, I listened to every word he said. I never argued with him. I never said I'm not going to do that. I never said nothing. He told me to do something. I did it.
Which comes with some great stories, John. Great stories.
There's so many different amazing stories, and then as I went through that process with Redline and kind of went through the next steps of my career, you just start to combine some things that you've learned as well as what Greg had taught me, and that's what I think elevates our sport. Greg taught me a certain amount. That I learned that. Then I experienced life and I experienced sport and training. Then I said, hey, I'm going to take this into consideration. I'm going to add this and that, and then you just develop into this awareness and this knowledge that people have. It's just outstanding. But to get it from Greg early on was just, in my opinion, one of the reasons why I sit here today. There's no way I would have done everything I did without Greg. So it was a great.
Did you have like this animosity towards him at first, John? Like you're up and coming, and then Greg comes up to you and you go, "What's this pro from the 80s going to tell me that this
That
kid
was my next question, man.
yeah, because I'm thinking to myself,
Man, leave me alone, old man.
yeah, it's like, why are you even approaching me? I'm John Purse.
Yeah.
The thing with Greg, the thing about the first conversation we had was the fact that he's still racing AA Pro. The difference was by the time he was working for Answer, he was doing Vet Pro, so he wasn't in the ranks doing the same thing that we normally were doing. So it was a different scenario. Now you had two competitors talking to each other, but you still had another competitor talking to me going, hey man, calm down, dude. Calm down. It was more like not telling me what to do training wise, but it's like, hey, calm down, you got to figure this out type scenario. Kind of helping me really without giving me like the secrets. But from the flip side, what I found out 1994, by the time he was working for Answer, really doing more of like a brand manager role, was then that was kind of like the tips and tricks. Hey, how do I defeat, Gary Ellis? How do I do this? And it's like, okay, you got to start here. You got to do sprints, and you got to do push-ups and pull-ups and crunches. You got to just do natural body exercises.
All right, so I'll go over the great questions now, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Then we'll do some trivia. So he did some real Mr. Miyagi stuff with you, dude. It was kind of. Can you hear me? Okay, John. Okay,
yeah. I can hear you.
Because,
that's so true. That's the perfect description of it. Honestly.
Now this is Greg writing this. He says, "What's this we hear about you driving back to your hotel in Reno, wearing your complete racing uniform, walking through the casino, and playing blackjack?"
That was actually Vegas, Nellis, after the sport, because everybody would always, like for me, I always stayed pretty active, in between rounds. Like guys take their shirts off and their pants off, and it's like, I don't want to put that stuff back on. So I would just always stay like lit up, ready to go. I was from Texas. It was hot in Texas, so weather-wise, it didn't really matter where I was at. I could just deal with it. So I didn't really take the shirt off too much. And then, wear my gear and stuff like that. And people used to always mess with me. And it was like the Diesel, Matt Hayden, when we were together on Redline, was messing with me. And I was like, all right. So I just said, I'm driving to the hotel with my gear on. And then I would ride if the track was close to the hotel, I would ride back to the hotel with my gear on. You know what I mean? But in that specific one in Las Vegas, they're like, all right. And Tony Donaldson was doing some, because he did video and photograph work for Redline. We were doing a catalog or whatnot. And so and that was when, if you ever saw me at a bank drive-through with the big check, trying to put it into an ATM, that was Tony Donaldson. Not sure exactly where they were at. That was because he was on tour with us at some point. He was at multiple stops, and he would do a lot of different things. They did a video. I think it was called Redline Rev or something like that. But I was like, man, I'm okay. I'm going to do something cool here. I stayed geared up, walked into full gear, man, goggles on, the whole nine, like pants. Back in the day, we were still on flats, so I just had like regular band shoes, and totally had money in my hand, cash, gloves on, the whole nine, and sat down at a blackjack table in Las Vegas, and played a couple hands of blackjack. But the funny part about that is I wouldn't say that we got in trouble, but we were told that we couldn't do that. I mean, we could not do that anymore.
Yeah,
so, but we did. But man, Tony Donaldson out there, hey, where's that film? Because you know what? I don't think a lot of people saw that part of some of the antics that we had. That would be some cool photographs to have these days, because that's pretty cool. That was a pretty cool moment in that era of what was going on, and the energy that was going on.
Did that make it into a Redline ad? I think Greg said that it went in the Redline advertising.
I do believe it did. It might have been in a catalog. It might have been. Maybe he couldn't do it because we were in a casino. I'm not sure. But like, those were some good images from those years of really at the same time riding for Redline, the revitalization of the brand. Greg, from pulling a trailer, his trailer with his truck, his Isuzu Rodeo, to having a box van. And then it ended up being, with a a truck and trailer scenario with Jason Carnes when he used to pull it for us. But it was just a revitalization of the brand. But it was just that timeline, the timeline of where we were in the sport in the mid '90s was just epic. It just was an epic scenario from about 1996 to 1998, just where the sport was. It was on Crank TV, you know, at 4:30 on Fox Sports. Set your clock. They would film 3 episodes. They'd film AA Pro Open, which is called Monster Cross.
Yeah.
And they had, before the dirt jumpers completely disappeared, they had their own episode for Crank, you know, doing the jump contests at the national track. When you remember, they would just go through the infields and jump over turns and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Oh,
Did you win the hands that you played blackjack with your helmet on?
Of course I did. Of course I won. Blackjack, baby, 21. When you're sitting.
Was this before or after? Because you know that some fool robbed the casino with the motorcycle helmet on in the mid '90s, maybe late. Do you know if this is before or after that time?
Ooh, man, this was probably 1996, at least 1996. But you know what? Like, they shut me down. They're like, you got to stop. You know, you can't do this here. So I took the helmet off. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't dramatic. But they just basically said, you can't do that. You can't do that right now. So I didn't even know about that. That's a good fun fact, because I didn't even know that one. I didn't know that somebody robbed the bank with because, dude, think about it. You know, I freaked out one time. I was doing a road ride. It was cold, like super cold one time. You know, in Conroe doing a road ride, and I had a ski mask on. And I rolled right into the gas station with a ski mask on to get water or something like that. I'm like, what are you doing? You know, just kind of crazy stuff. You know, giving people a heart attack. You know,
you're from Texas, dude. You have a handkerchief across your face.
Oh, dude, it was full ski mask, man, with just the mouth. It was just if you didn't know any better, I was there to rob the convenience store. You know, it was just kind of some wacky stuff. You know.
Dang.
That's funny, man. That's funny. Wow. Hey, did you do a lot of? Was your riding only on the track, or did you do any dirt stuff, any off-track type of stuff on the trails or anything like that? Danny, because we talked to Trace a little bit about that. Would he rather ride trails with his friends or race? Were you strictly on the track, or did you ever do any other type of thing? I know you did mountain biking for a while, but did you ever do any dirt jumping or anything like that?
No, I didn't do any. I didn't jump, so to speak. I mean, I tried dirt jumping when I was younger, and I tried skateboards when I was younger. But for me, not moving to California and staying in Texas was a challenge, just because of the tracks and the trails, because the tracks were starting to get a little bit more technical. NBL was on the technical side. Even we had pro sections a lot. So that's where in Conroe I built the first set of trails in the backyard. So that was where, if you see some of the videos, I think it was Crank video, right? With Eric Bartolis, that was the first trails that I built. So that I did, again, what is it going to take? Adapt to conquer. So I built trails in my backyard, and that's what kind of took it to the next level. And then in that same time zone, mid 90s, actually, believe it or not, Christoph and his girlfriend at the time, they came and stayed. And that's where I kind of learned a lot. I learned, the road rides, and I learned kind of some of the interesting training that he used to do. And I always had a thing about Christoph, because in one of the sections in the backyard, I had it to where you had to go through a flat turn. You had to go through a flat turn, and you only had a certain amount of space between that flat turn to jump a double. And it wasn't crazy, but it was just one of those things where you had to hit. You can't go too fast, you can't go too slow. You got to be nice and precise. And I noticed that, he kind of had an issue turning. It was because, as you guys know, crushed limestone in Europe, like, they don't have the same surface as we have. We had dirt, asphalt corners. They had stone. They had to kind of be a little bit more reserved in the corners. So that was one of the things I noticed, back in the day. And then a little bit later on, more of like in the Redline days from 1997, living in Spring, Texas, I built another set of trails. Even things were getting even more elevated, so I built another set of trails there. And then I would travel up to 9th Street in Austin. Good friend of mine, Carl Lean, lived there. Chase Hawk actually came from the Ninth Street Trails. He's really super famous.
Chase Hawk?
Chase Hawk used to be a little dude, like 10 years old, just launching back in those days. And now I think he's 40. I don't know. Because,
Chase Hawk's a legend.
Oh, he's super legend. But I remember when he was a little bitty dude, just booming it out there, as a AA pro. We kind of drive up, have a session and maybe go home or whatever. But that's what I did to fill in for the situation. I didn't have a lot of trails and stuff like that. So I had my own set of trails. Plus I would go to 9th Street. And then, after Pittsburgh, you went to Push. Push was after, that was in Pittsburgh. And then the one that just got dozed, which is in, that was more close to Philly. I forget the name of it. Posh. It was Push and Posh. Push was Pittsburgh, and then Posh was the one that got dosed not too long ago. But so every time there was trails, I would probably go at least, try them. But in the end, that was one of my, I guess you'd say, weaknesses in the. Aside from being injured, I had a clavicle scenario where I had shoulder problems when they had the Triple Crown, advanced Triple Crown.
Yeah.
That's where I would say that the trails that the guys rode in California were a little bit above and beyond what I was used to, comfortable with. The fact that by the time 2000 went around, I was 10 years into the sport. So I've been hurt and injured and had issues with my shoulder right at that pivotal point of that downhill series. But those were enormous jumps. But, as we went on, we were in the X Games for 3 years, and then UCI did a downhill at BMX right before they debuted the Olympic kind of discipline in 2005 in San Jose at the Do Action Sports Store. But yeah, you had to mix it up. You had to be able to because it just depends on your local track too. All of the tracks really weren't super technical in Texas, so I had to create what I needed to train on to be able to compete at that level.
So one of my favorite questions is to ask you, what's the sketchiest thing you've ever done on a BMX bike? And I would assume that it has something to do with riding trails or the Triple Crown or something like that. But is there something that stands out to you? Like, did you ever surprise yourself? Like, or did you ever get any trying to keep up with the younger kids, like say, man, I got to do this jump, or I have to go for it. I got to nut up and do this. Does anything stand out?
Well, I mean, what stands out, even as an amateur, was I had even my motocross friend, like it was one of my buddies in high school. His name was Matt Chappa, and he was a Kawasaki guy. This was before I met Todd Kirby and those guys, and they all know each other, in the small world. But I used to go out to his practice track, and whenever I was battling with David Milham, that's when I was riding anywhere from a 45, 46, or 47, 14, 185 cranks. And because back in the day, it was a little different. Hole shotting is not the same as it was. Back, everybody was fast, but it was a different era where there was more pedaling. And man, I would go out to his track, and I didn't really. I knew my limitations. I didn't really ride the bike. I've had motorcycles, when I was younger, a mini bike that I used to jump the ditches in, but I never really got to. I almost got into motocross when I was about 10, but I didn't do it. My parents were worried about injury and stuff like that, but he had like a 50 to 60 foot tabletop that he had at his track, and he's like, "Hey man, do you think you can do that?" I'm like, I looked it down. I'm like, really? I took my bike and out, and like we made sure that there was this path that was super packed because that stuff was loamy. Took a shovel out there. I built a lip. I mean, this is probably high school, right? So I'm not pro yet. This is 1988, 89 Eagle Snacks days, 47, 14 or whatever. And dude, just launching a 50 to 60 foot tabletop just because, like, okay, let me see if I can do it. Thankfully, there was no crashing. I didn't wad myself up. I did wad myself up launching an XL 100 when I was younger, going 35 miles an hour, trying to figure out how far I could go. And I warped the front wheel. That was some of my days when I was like, oh, I did crash and broke myself off. But so I did some extreme stuff early on, just kind of like when you're young, you really, you're in that mindset of, okay, how far is it? 50 to 60? Okay. And just running up, going for it, and just probably would have been the cool thing to have those videotapes back then, but that was like 1988. And just going, I had a big set in the backyard, first backyard in Conroe that I built. It was just so an enormous set of doubles that it was like there was no middle. It was just like the lip and the takeoff, and it was like 40 something feet, just a launcher that I would go for.
Damn.
And then, but I was used to jumping ramps, and when we were with Eagle Snacks, it was Anheuser-Busch, the roasted peanuts and pretzels and potato chips you used to eat in the planes. So we'd go to grocery stores and hand out chips and pretzels and peanuts. But we did a bicycle demonstration, tricks and flatland tricks and stuff like that. But we would jump cars. We had ramps that we took with us in the vans, and then we would jump one of a truck or a car or whatever back in the day. So I was I was kind of a thrill seeker back then. I used to jump. I used to like to jump. So that helped me, of course, whenever I was pro. But nothing aside from doing some big stuff in California get you ready, even in Ninth Street, get you ready for the downhill tracks, because that was a whole nother level. And to me, it's like that was a special sweet spot for the sport, because you talked about how everybody back in the day, persona wise, we kind of were really sheltered, and the teams had the firm had 5 or 6 riders on their team, depending if some Europeans were there. So like you have a huddle of people, and I had my people, and but I kind of kept to myself. But to me, like the downhill of BMX kind of united the pros is like on a friendship level, because we were just rooting for each other to get down to the bottom of the mountain safely without breaking yourself off. So
I can imagine.
It was really to me one of the things that really united everybody, like, because everybody was just, hey, you can do it. Everybody was helping each other. It was really kind of like it was kind of the sport kind of going to a different level, to where it's like scramble it all up. Okay, this isn't about, back in the day when I was 8 or 9, they were raking the turns. They were raking the blue groove out of a corner back in the day, and watering the track. So you needed knobby tires. You know what I mean? The only things that were packed were the jumps, and they still kind of knocked that edge off a little bit too on jumps and stuff like that, to hard pack corners and asphalt corners and all that kind of stuff. Now we have slurry and stuff like that, but to take the sport and go, okay, this is the extreme as it's ever been, outside of the downhill once upon a time, the saddlebacks and all that kind of stuff you hear about, but the jumps weren't contoured like they were back then. Those is launches. I mean, those guys were jumping maybe the same equal distance onto flat ground, versus a manicured track, supercross track. So that was really a pivotal time, to where from 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5 going into Olympics, where everybody kind of at least you had your huddles at the races, but at that race everybody was just happy for each other just to get down to the bottom of the hill safely.
I want one follow-up before we go into trivia, John. The first story you said about you jumping the 50, 60-foot tabletop, that was on a bicycle or a motorcycle?
Bicycle.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Now, guys, I don't know. I don't remember if I had the 45, 46, or 47, 14 on. I'm not sure what gear ratio I had on that thing, but it was a big gear ratio, and I did launch 50 to 60 feet. It was 50 to the edge, and then 60 comfortable. So I was just launching it as far as possible. It was awesome.
Hey, Danny, dude, that I was jumping that on my CRF 450R, not on a bicycle, dude. I was doing that on a motorcycle. So on a bicycle, that's crazy, man.
I'd rather be on a bicycle. Motorcycles terrify me, dude.
So where? Hey, where did you ride that 450? Did you ride it on a motorcycle track?
Yeah, I raced vet beginner for one season.
Nice.
And I raced, the biggest race I ever had was Glen Helen down here in Southern California. And I had raced probably like 4 times, and I got mid-pack in a vet beginner. And
nice.
Yeah, it was fun. It was for one season. I was scared out of my mind, but it was fun, man. Yeah.
But hey, in those it leads into this. So this is another wacky thing. I've ridden on motocross tracks too, as well, right? On my race bike, BMX bike.
Damn.
That was wink wink part of my training back in the day, was to do laps on a motocross track.
Oh wow, dude.
Wow.
Whatever it took to get to the finish line, man. Some things were packed, some places weren't. Maybe there was a tabletop that I jumped. Maybe the whoop section was cool. It's kind of similar to really just riding off terrain, you know, whether you're in the hills or stuff like that. But yeah. I did some wacky stuff, and when I won that CR 125, I had kind of like a close call one time on the track, and I just would do starts on it. You know, I just do whole shots on it. But that's awesome on the 450F. That's something that's I've always just told somebody, is like, well, before I can't do it, maybe I'll never do it. But if my one wish is to jump a triple, a supercross triple, is like come out of a corner, hit a triple. That's kind of on my wish list. I don't think I'll ever get there, but that's awesome that have you done that? Have you done the triple?
I've told a story. Okay, so I've ridden dirt bikes my whole life, but I never had a good one. I always had a crappy, like I had a TM 400 and I had a bunch of old bikes from the 70s. But when I had my kids, I'd say, you know what, I'm going to buy myself a good dirt bike. So I bought a 2006 CRF 450R, and I never rode it recreationally. The first time I rode my bike was in a race. So the very next weekend I went to a race and I rode my bike for the first time, and I got second to last in the race, right? But when I was racing Glen Helen, there was a 70-foot triple, right? I was racing the big track. A 70-foot triple, and there were guys in my race that were clearing this triple. And I'm all, you sandbagging motherfuckers, man. There's no way that a beginner should be clearing a 70-foot triple, man. And I could double it, but I couldn't triple it. So I can relate to what you're saying about doing a supercross triple. It's crazy.
Did you do it?
No.
No, you weren't at that level yet. Or
no way in hell, dude. I would have came home in an ambulance. But,
that was awesome, though. That was awesome.
And I never had any bad crashes on a dirt bike my entire life. Never, not one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I got lucky. But anyways, all right, man. You ready for some trivia, bro?
Sure, man. Bring it.
All right, now, Danny, do your thing, man. This is where Danny shines. This is where all the magic happens.
Do I get to use ChatGPT or no?
You can whatever you want, man.
I guess.
Do you get a phone a friend? You get a phone a friend?
Yeah.
You only phoned Greg Hill.
Hey, Greg said you did something about digging some 3-foot holes in his backyard. What was that? I was going to ask you that, but Kevin went on a different story. But do you remember digging holes in his backyard?
Absolutely. I mean, in 1997, before I won the title, because winning the NBL title was great.
Yeah.
And of course, I had won the UCI title. But the interesting thing about '97 was I led points at the NBL Grands, and I crashed like 10 foot from the finish line in the semi, and didn't make the main. And then I think Levesque and Romero went for it. I think Levesque got it from Romero back in 1997. But it was kind of like, it was a weird scenario where those are the two first national championships that I ever won in BMX. Remember, just those are my first two, aside from maybe local number one once upon a time in my state number one, state championships. But so your identity, so to speak, kind of lies within titles. You won it once, you backed it up, you're about to three-peat it, you had an issue like, oh man, how do we be better? Well, I'd gotten close for the ABA title, but then that's when we went, all in 1997 for the title for that. So it was one of those things to where you kind of just step into kind of where you need to be next level. But going in, lost timeline is September 1997, crashed before the finish line. And then now we're in November, or like last part of October, November, training for the Grands. So he had like these horse stables in his backyard. Like he has a nice little piece of property, and there was like a horse barn back there. So we were like, let's take it to the next level. And we did he tell you about the box? We built the box. So there was half of this horse stable, we built a room, and I was there with him and throughout training for the Grands. I would do clinics with them and whatnot. But dude, we built a room that had no windows, just had a door and a concrete floor, and the way to get the concrete in there was we would mix it in the wheelbarrow, and then I would take the wheelbarrow and dump it into the room. And this was like a 10 by 20, 10 by 30 room. It was like 300 square foot room that we built from the ground up with concrete, mixing the concrete bags in his driveway. So it was kind of like we always talk about like the Rocky scenario. I was more of like a Rocky type of trainer, like more intense and natural. So also we built like a little practice track in his backyard, or it was already built already. And he's like, hey man, I think it was like this turn. He's like, I want to make this turn a little bit deeper and steeper. But here's the deal, dude. Because he talked to you, dude. Hey, dude, you got to do this.
Yeah,
That's a good impression, man.
He's the only person in the world that can say "dude" and make it a sentence. And every word "dude" is a different word. Reality.
Dude, that's a phenomenal, dude. That's a phenomenal impression of Greg, dude. I love it, man.
You sounded just like him just now. That was weird.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. So he's like, okay, dude. Here's what I want you to do, man. He's like, I want you to dig a hole, and I want you to put it to your left. Just dig a hole for like a long time, like 3, 5, 10 minutes, whatever. Dig a hole, put it to your left, and then, but when you grip the shovel, you got to grip it differently. So if you're going to go to the left, your left hand is down by the spade bit, and your right hand's this way. Then when you finish that pile, dude, here'd be another dude. All right, dude. You gotta switch your shovel handle, your hands on your shovel, and now I want you to take that same pile that's on your left, and dude, you need to put it to the right. And then when you finish that, then I need you to do it again. I need you to do that about 3 times, at least 3 times, and then it was just the most bizarre things that we did, and it was just fun. It was just fun. I mean, it was pretty intense. But it's just everything had these weird, I wouldn't say it's weird, it's just things that nobody did. I did things nobody did. I did things nobody did in the gym. And we talked about this the other day, and I said, because when you get older, it is harder to stay in shape. And like a buddy of mine, actually Sean Kirby, he was like, it's harder to get back into shape than to stay in shape. And so I started kind of getting back into shape. And I said, Greg, I was like, I don't even enjoy it. Like I just did it. Like everybody, like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym and have a good time, and I'm going to lift and fill up. No, dude, it's like, it was torture in a good way. It was like, okay, what can we do? And how can we just do something completely bizarre that nobody can do? But it makes a difference. And that's another one of his things, aside from saying, dude, it's like, you get out of it what you put into it. If you put into it with a little bit of effort, you're only going to get a little bit of achievement. If you put a lot of effort, you get a lot of achievement. So it's a really, really, I'm honestly blessed beyond my means to have Greg in my corner in those days, because he has been pivotal for my career, and for somebody just to handpick somebody, and back in the day from the side of the starting tower, and like, dude, calm down, man. Like, dude, and I think he was even saying dude back then, but where the road started and where it ended, and then the road hasn't ended, because you still have a great friend that you can talk to about life itself, and you have similar things that go on in your lives in the different decades of life that you live. But I'm just really blessed. I'm blessed to have some beautiful people in BMX that I've been part of, and everybody, in my opinion, has always been part of my program, and that energy that you have, that's excelled. It's like I wasn't the only one out there. It was that energy that people gave me, whether it be somebody rooting, telling me good luck, hey, signing an autograph, talking to a parent, whatever. It's just everybody's on your team, you know what I mean? So it's like, for me, it wasn't me, it was we. We accomplished all that.
Right.
Yep.
Hey guys, Danny Pena over at the BMXPERTS Podcast, along with Kevin Wilson, the founder and producer of the show. Hey, we want you guys to take the time to check out our website. It's under www.bmexpertspodcast.com. Kevin's put a lot of work and energy into creating the website, and of course he's the creator of the show, and we're definitely jumping into the merch game more. So we have some of the newest gear out right now. As you can see, the BM Experts Podcast hat there and the latest t-shirts. This is the stuff Kevin and I have been wearing on the show recently, and we're really anxious to get some of this merchandise out. If you're interested, please go to the website, place your order, and Kevin will get you all hooked up. We got more stuff that's in the works. Kevin's always at the drawing board there, trying to come up with some more ideas for the show. We definitely appreciate all the support you guys have been giving us as the show continues to grow, pick up more momentum, and we're picking up a lot of great guests over the last couple of months. It's been super exciting to see the progress of the show. But anyway, as I mentioned, please check out the website. Take a look at it. You can see us on YouTube, BM Experts Podcast, and we'll see you guys out there.
Well, we can attest to having Greg Hill in your corner behind your back is a good thing, right?
Oh, absolutely.
He got our show off the ground. If it wasn't for Greg, we'd be still talking to each other.
Yeah, Greg has a lot. Greg has a lot to do with with all of our success. Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, let's play the game, man. Because I know, John, you got a day ahead of you still, and we're keeping you longer than we wanted. Sorry about that.
I'm doing okay. I'm on Eastern Standard Time, so we're pretty good over here. We were able to do.
It's almost dinner time over there, man.
All right, so we're gonna do the way the game works, John. It's pretty simple. We have two categories. You can pick a category, so you can say I want to do a BMX question or I want to do a pop culture question. Now these are all based in the '90s. So it should be right in your wheelhouse. You get the question. If you get it right, you get a point. Pretty simple. If you miss it, Kevin can steal it and vice versa, and we're just going to go back and forth. That's it. It's pretty simple.
All right. Good luck, John. Good luck.
Okay. I'll have to adapt here. Remember, adapt and conquer. Hold on. Let's see how.
There you go.
All right. So, John, you're the guest. You get to go first. Would you like to do a BMX question, or do you want to do a pop culture question?
Oh, man, it's BMX. So I got to start with a BMX question.
All right. Let's go. All right. Complete this product name. The 1990 Haro blank 1B.
Oh.
You can picture it in your head. Think of the ads.
Was it a word or a letter?
It's a word. So the Haro blank 1B, and it's in big letters on the down tube of the bike.
Oh.
John's like, I never rode for Haro.
Yeah, I know. Well, I was going to say Mach, but I think that was a GT thing.
Yeah.
Was it Fusion?
Oh, very close. Do you know? Very close.
It's Group.
Group, yeah. Haro Group 1.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, Fusion did come out later though. So he was on the right track.
Man, that was perfect. That I remember Group. Yeah, you got me.
All right, so that's John's first question. Kevin, you stole it. You're next. Let's go.
BMX.
BMX.
So what happened?
Okay.
If I got points off now? Am I?
No, you don't lose points. You just don't get any.
Yeah, you're still at 0. Yeah, so it's 1-0. It's 1-0.
Okay, I'm not fifth in the semi yet. Okay, got it.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
BMX.
Right. June 1990. Todd Corbett raced for what factory team? Was it Auburn, Haro, or Redline?
I think it was Auburn.
Auburn, Kevin, good job, my dude. All right.
So I can't interrupt anybody, right? I can't cut you off when I can't cut and answer first. Is that
No.
All right.
Yeah.
But make sure I got the rules right because I could cut you off. I could cut you off on that
John, you're riding dirty right now, bro.
It does happen though. People do yell out the answers like, "Oh, wait, it's not your turn."
Okay, that's what I was about to yell it out. I was about to say or something. I thought I could cut him off or something, but okay.
All right, it's all you, John. It's all you. Go for it.
Now it's my turn again.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm gonna go BMX. I may do pop culture, but let's do BMX because this is BMX.
All right, we'll go BMX. Okay, this is a true or false. This one can't be stolen because it's true or false. Okay. In 1990, Chris Smoller was a staff writer for Go magazine. Is that true or false?
Staff writer, like writer or writer?
Writer.
Ah,
True or false? Did Chris write for Go magazine?
ah. 50-50. True.
True, it's true. He actually, yeah, he did do it. Yeah, he had some pretty good stuff, man. I actually read some of it, and I go, wow, that's actually pretty good. You know, I'm guilty. When I was young, John, I would get the BMX magazines, look at all the pictures, read the captions, and now that I review magazines for my YouTube channel, I read just about everything now, and I go, damn, that was actually pretty good writing. It's a good writer.
Hey, John, I've told Dan this before. When he does true or false, 99% of the time is true.
Okay.
I keep that in mind, so sometimes I'll throw a false one in every once in a while, and I go,
that's either true or he's trying to like mess with the little vibe here and like, let me say something.
I was guessing that it was true only because it was too specific of a question to be false. That's why I was guessing it was going to be true. Well, go ahead.
hey, that's kind of how you take an actual test. You have to do the process of elimination. Well, that sounds, you know what I mean? That's how I do tests.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2-1. Kevin, it's back to you. What do you want to do?
Pop culture.
First pop culture question. Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right, here we go.
You scared? Pop culture?
You can do pop culture, yeah. Which 1999 film featured the line, "I see dead people"? What movie did that come from? Bruce Willis was in it, if that helps a little bit.
Haley Joel Osment.
I could have stole this so easy. I should be giving you an elbow.
You can't steal it. Hold on.
Elbow?
Yeah, you can catch him with an elbow.
It starts with a D. I know that, right?
I can't tell you, dude. You got to tell me.
I don't know.
Do I get bonus points when he gets it wrong? Do I get
Yes.
bonus?
Yeah. What do you think? Yeah, it's your turn, John. What do you think? Can you steal it?
Are you out?
I'm out.
You're not going to try to pass me at the finish line?
No, go for it.
The Sixth Sense.
The Sixth Sense. That's the one. All right, John with the first steal. It's 2-2.
2-2, and it's on John.
John got you, man. Hey, John, I seen this cruiser main one time, and I don't know. I think it was you and Jason Richardson. You put him into a wall or something like that. Or it was vice versa. He might have put you in the wall. I don't know. It looked like it was in Southern California. I don't know if you remember that or not. It was your pre-Redline days.
Pre-Redline days. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Because they used to have the indoor. You talking about California?
Yeah.
Yeah, the indoor. Yeah, because I was racing cruiser. I put him into a wall.
It looked like it was either or. You guys were right at the finish line, and one of you guys kind of went into the wall. It might have been you that actually got knocked off the track. I can't remember. It was kind of a cool race. I'll have to find the clip and send it to you.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
I don't remember that one. Like I said, I have had probably way too many concussions that I could speak of. But.
All right, so John, you stole it, and it's back to you. What do you want to do?
I'm staying with BMX. I like pop culture, but BMX.
Here we go. The 1990 Pro Series and the Pro Series team was made by who?
Okay, hold on. Repeat that question.
The 1990 Pro Series and Pro Series team was made by who?
GT?
GT, that's the correct answer. All right, John's on the board again. 3-2. Kevin, back to you, buddy.
Pop culture.
What's wrong, BMXPERTS Podcast?
Yeah, Kevin loves pop culture. All right, here we go.
Dude.
I'm trying to give you a chance, dude. I don't want to beat you too bad.
How about this? I'm gonna raise my hand when I know the answer on this one too.
There you go.
All right, man. Pop culture.
Here we go. Which girl group had a hit with Waterfalls in 1995?
TLC.
TLC. Good job, dude.
Ooh, nice. Impressive.
Kevin's deadly when it comes to music, dude. He's deadly on that one. All right, John.
Guys, BMX.
Going back to BMX.
BMX for 1,000.
Here we go. We should do points like that, Kev. That's kind of a good idea.
Ooh,
All right. Complete this product name. Blank streetwear.
Vision.
Vision streetwear. All right. You ever wear Vision shoes, John? Or was it
Yes, I
strictly
did.
Vans?
Yeah, my long-standing sponsor was with Vans, but I do believe team-wise, it might have been the Eagle Snack days. I might have done the Vans because we had to. It was one of our things.
Yeah.
Vision streetwear.
Right on. Okay. All right, Kev. Back to you.
Pop culture.
Oh, he's kind of cheating. That's why that's just like his leveler here. His equalizer.
Yeah, he does that, man. All right, here we go. What popular toy caused a frenzy during the 1996 holiday season? Was it the Furby? Was it Beanie Babies? Or was it Tickle Me Elmo?
Tickle Me Elmo.
Tickle Me Elmo.
What a stellar question there. That's awesome.
Kevin has a Tickle Me Elmo.
I gotta tickle me, Kevin.
I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. So my youngest daughter had a Tickle Me Elmo, and the battery in that thing, dude, never died. I mean, she's like 21, and we cleaned out her room when she was about, I want to say she was about 15, 16. I go, what do you think, Rachel? Should we get rid of all these little baby toys now? She goes, yeah, I think it's time. And dude, I moved a box, and that thing was still talking. I'm like, how is that possible?
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was actually kind of scary, dude. It was kind of a horror movie. All right, so let's see. We're going back to John, right? Okay, John, what do you want to do?
BMX.
All right, here we go. In 1990, Brian Blyther had what shoe sponsor? Let me rephrase that because I fumbled it. In 1990, Brian Blyther had what shoe sponsor? Was it Vans, Converse, or Airwalk? Airwalk. Look at John, man. Can't miss the BMX questions. It's 5-4, Kevin.
All right. Okay. I'm going BMX.
Oh, he's getting out of the comfort zone.
This one's for John.
Here's the elbow. I'm going to leave it out.
All right. This one's a little tough. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. What bad boy BMX pro from the 80s raced for Cool Boy Designs in 1990?
I'm going to guess Chris Moeller.
Good guess, but that would be incorrect. John, can you steal it?
Repeat the question.
All right. What bad boy BMX pro from the 80s raced for Cool Boy Designs in 1990?
I'm drawing a blank. Cool Boys. Oh, that's so on the tip of my tongue, man. Darwin Griffin?
Nope, not Darwin Griffin. It's actually Ronnie Anderson, raced for Cool Boy Designs.
Oh, man. I didn't know if he was still racing in 1990. Okay.
Yeah, that's why I grabbed the question. I go, ooh, here's a good one.
Yeah, because I didn't even think Ronnie, Crazy Ronnie, because people put me in, like, we're brothers from another mother. It's like Crazy Ronnie. I've heard that before. Are you brothers with Crazy Ronnie? I'm like, no, but I can see why he did what he did. He was kind of crazy. He still is kind of crazy. It's kind of cool.
Ronnie's going to watch this and get all pissed off. I go, you should have known it was me, man. Sorry, Ronnie.
All right, it's 5-4. No one got that one, so it is Kevin. It's John's turn. Okay, go ahead, John.
BMX.
He's going back to BMX. All right. Who made the 1990 Expert Comp? Would it have been Diamondback, Mongoose, or Redline?
Mongoose.
Mongoose is the correct answer. All right. Woo. John moves to 6. John 6-4. Kevin. John starts.
Behind? Oh man,
you're behind. Okay.
Pop culture.
All right.
Let's go back to your same topic.
Hey, I gotta do what I gotta do, right? I have to train for the race at hand.
Yeah, dude. We had I don't know if it was the finals, Kevin, when we did a pop culture final. I'm sorry, we did trivia finals, And I think Kevin reached into that pop culture bag the whole time. He was just like,
every question was pop culture. Yeah,
yeah, and he
I
did.
won. I won.
Yeah, you won. Yeah, it was hella funny, dude. That was cool. All right, here we go.
Pop culture.
Rachel and Ross are from what TV show?
Friends.
Friends. That was an easy one. Okay, so that gets Kevin to 5. Back
Are
to
you
John.
guys team riding right now? I think you might be team riding right now. I think.
No.
No, you got.
No.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
What do you think, John? What do you want to do?
Oh, BMX.
Back to BMX.
That's what's on
Okay.
your shirt. That's what I see. I'm reading BMX on your shirt.
There you go. All right. Dave Cullinan raced for what factory team in 1990? Would it have been Robinson, GT, or Powerlight?
Robinson.
Robinson. Uh-oh. It's up to 7, Kevin. John's not missing. Pop culture. Here we go. All right. Who sang? This one's gonna make me laugh. Who sang "Baby One More Time" in 1998?
You mean "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time"?
If that helps you.
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears. Britney Spears sang that one. All right.
That was
Okay.
a great video. Great video.
It is. Huh? All right, John. Do you want to go BMX again?
BMX, baby.
All right, here we go. Okay, I need you to finish. This is finish the product name. Are you ready? 1990. Finish this product name. Color blank.
Control.
Color Control. Look at John, dude. He has not missed.
I never heard of it. What is that?
Color Control had all these
That's
crazy
an elbow,
colors.
is what that is.
Yeah.
Is that what you're asking what that was?
He said that's an elbow. That's what it is. Color Control Racing. Yeah, dude, their uniforms are all like rainbowed out. They're pretty cool.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. All right, so we're at 8-6. Back to Kevin.
Pop
Speaking
culture.
of rainbows, I think he's going to probably go with pop culture again.
All right, here we go. What was the highest grossing film of the 1990s? Was it Titanic, Jurassic Park, or Lion King?
Titanic.
Titanic was the highest grossing film of the 1990s. Kevin moves to 7. Back to John. You ready, John? BMX. All right. Lynn Caston started what bicycle company after Redline?
Caston.
Caston. That was a trick question. You didn't fall for it. That goes to 9-7. Kevin, what do you want to do?
Pop culture.
In 1996, what was the first animal that was ever cloned?
Ooh.
A sheep.
It was a sheep. It was named Dolly.
Her name was
Dolly.
Dolly.
Yeah,
Wow.
Dolly's sheep. Yeah.
Nice.
Kevin, good job. All right, so we still have, we're down to our last BMX question, John. This is the last one you're going to grab. Are you ready? Since Kevin didn't take any.
So I've already won the title, basically.
There you go.
But there's pop culture coming.
We still have pop culture left, yeah.
I'm counting points. I'm counting points in this third main.
Here we go. June 1990, Mike King raced for what factory team?
In 1990?
In 1990. This is a tricky one because I know there was some movement around. So what do you think?
Redline.
Oh, Kevin, can you steal it?
Haro.
Haro. He was actually on Haro.
I almost went both ways because I knew it was Haro or Redline, and he did spend some time
On both.
Got me on that one. He did get
It was like,
John, I was going to say red line too, so I knew it was Haro.
Haro. Yeah, that was a slip the pedal on that one.
that's like the Billy Griggs and Mike King.
That was
flop.
another one.
Yeah, they flopped. Yeah. All right.
But it's same company, same two companies too. That would have been that's a good question, Billy Griggs question too.
Yeah, we talked to him about that, and yeah, he wanted to be teammates with Mike King, and I was thinking, man, that would have been epic if those two guys were on the same team, you know. But it didn't happen.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, we're down to the last 5 questions, and they are all pop culture. So John took all the BMX.
Oh, we're team riding for sure now.
No.
That's how you guys roll. I got you.
Yeah, we have it. It is 9-9 going into the main event, and
Wow.
this is it. This is it. Okay. All right. So John, you got that last one right? Yeah. But no, you missed it. Kevin missed it. It's Kevin. It's your turn.
Pop culture, go for it.
All right. What handheld gaming console released in 1989? Handheld gaming console released in 1989.
Game Boy.
Game Boy. That came out in 1989.
Woo.
Kevin has 10. All right, here we go. Are you ready, John?
Yeah, I gotta. Like I said, this is like adapt and conquer for sure. I'm in an unknown element. I gotta get ready.
The Truth Is Out There is from what 1990s TV show?
Oh man, the truth is out there.
The Truth Is Out There.
Was that the motto? Was that like a slogan?
That was
Yeah.
kind of the slogan for the show, yeah.
Yeah.
What in what year?
1990s TV show.
Oh man, the
I
truth
can-
is out.
Can I give him a hint, Kevin?
I'm behind, dude.
Okay, can't give him a hint. Can't give him a hint. Okay.
The truth is out there. 1990.
Yeah.
Television show.
Television show. It was kind of like a sci-fi in a way.
Oh goodness gracious, man. Yeah, I'm about to OTB on this one. Oh, the bars.
Kevin, do you remember?
Yeah, the X-Files.
The X-Files. The X-Files is the correct answer. All right, here we go.
Wait,
Okay,
are we even now, or am I still behind?
No,
You're up by. It's 11-9. You're up.
How did it go from 9 to 9? What did he get that I didn't get?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. It's 10-9. 10-9.
Ah, see.
Yeah. Okay.
No. Okay, whose turn is it? Mine?
Yeah, you stole it.
All right, give me another one then.
Oh man, this is too
Guys,
easy.
is that how it rolls too? You steal it and you get your own, right? Okay, guys.
Yeah, that's kind of the
That way
bonus.
you can double up the points. You can gain 2 bike links. So I got it.
Yeah.
Right.
You did that to me twice.
All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Was performed by
Meatloaf.
Meatloaf. That was an easy one. All right. Okay, now you have 11. Okay.
Okay.
All right, John.
Hey, give John a layup, man. I don't want to hear him complain.
Well,
It's all right. It's all right. I see how it rolls. We get pop culture and then.
Hey, this is the first time that anybody has ever questioned our integrity, John. Danny, you know that, right?
That's team riding. I see it already. You know?
Yeah.
We played probably 50 of these, and no one has ever questioned our integrity, man. I'm offended.
Yeah, that's so funny. When I was playing my last year playing baseball, I was in high school, and my friend Mark, he was a really great pitcher, and I was a pretty decent baseball player, but he was really good. And he would tell me pre-game, he goes, "Dude, don't swing at the first pitch. I'm gonna throw you a curve, but then I'm gonna throw you 2 fastballs down the middle. Wait." And he would tell me ahead of time so I can get a hit. I have to wait for the fastball.
So that's what you guys do. Like you guys rehearsed this already. That's okay. It's all right.
All right, John, here we go. Who released Ice Ice Baby in 1990?
Vanilla Ice, baby.
Vanilla Ice. All right. Okay, that brings you to 10. All right, Kevin. What rap group was totally crossed out in the 1990s?
Wait, can you say the question again?
What rap group was totally crossed out in the 1990s?
See, I see what you did there. Crisscross.
Crisscross. All right, that's a wrap.
I was waiting to steal. That would have been enough. Hey, we need to throw a new thing is where you can put your elbow out. Like you can elbow somebody if they haven't answered the question soon enough.
That's kind of a cool concept John's coming up with, because at the beginning of the game he goes, "Can I just yell out the answer?" And we've never tried that. Hey, whoever answers it first is going to get it. We've never tried that, Kevin. I don't know if we do that or not. That might be hard.
Oh, I'll smoke everybody faster.
then I won't be able to know who answered it first. I think it's going to create some problems. But what John's saying though is when someone's going, someone just yell out the answer and just steal it. That would be.
I have no problem with that. I'll just win faster, dude. We should do the time thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The only thing you could do is like do a buzzer, like you give us 5 seconds or 10 seconds, and then
Oh yeah.
put a consistent time limit on it, like because Kevin, when he has an issue, he'll probably try to like roll and stall out, like move around a little bit, say something, and like think about it. Like I see how it goes.
Kevin's
so
a break.
have to do the time limit on
break checker.
next time.
Hey, John, just for the record, dude, I rarely lose, man.
Hey, I'm on the bubble right now. Like
You're on the bubble.
I get a last straightaway here.
Thank you very much for playing, John. Appreciate it, man.
Oh, absolutely. This is great. This is fun.
Hey John, before I forget, man, I want to send some condolences for Denzel Stein, for your teammate. I see he passed away in a motorcycle accident recently. It was really emotional because it was all over Facebook. They said that he had passed away, and then turned out that he hadn't passed away. He was still in critical care, and then they did re-announce it. So I was sorry to hear that. He's a young guy. That was just a big loss to the BMX community. Yeah.
Incredible human being, father, 2 beautiful daughters. What really got me was that it was actually Mighty Moses Tillman. Posted that video of the daddy-daughter dance, and I'm not really a reposter. I'm not a Facebooker, but I had such respect, and I knew Denzel, and he was such a beautiful human being, and I just wanted to share that. It wasn't for me. It was just like, man, we lost a soldier, man. We lost one of the great people of our sport, and then when I found out that he didn't pass. I was just like, oh, okay, here we go. And then I wasn't able to edit my one, and then I just left it up for a little bit, and I ended up deleting it. And then I found that song, I Will Survive, and everybody was hoping he would pull out of it. And and I had some friends, some personal friends that actually went to see him and kind of gave me the updates and about what his prognosis was and what the decision they had to make. And it was, like I said, it was really unfortunate that we lost him. He was a bright young man, bright soul.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure we put that out there. I'm very sorry for that.
And my condolences to his family, friends, and his girls, and let his light shine through us forever. He was such a great person.
Well said. Well said. Hey, John, that was an honor having you on, man. You're a fun guy, dude.
Well, who won? Have we finished it?
It's a wrap. Kevin got you 12 to 10. Kevin snuck it in at the end.
Hold on a minute. Here we go. Here we got some more team riding because I'm good at math. Remember, I'm counting the points in the third main. You said 5 questions. I don't think we did 5 questions, but
we did.
5 questions each.
I did
total.
I did 12 pop culture. I did 12 BMX. So a total of 24 questions.
Wow.
In that one.
Okay,
so it was,
go over the last 5 that you did to make sure that John believes you.
The last 5 questions that we did?
You said we have 5 questions left. What were the questions that you asked?
The last 5 questions.
My last question was Vanilla Ice. What am I still trailing by 1?
You got Vanilla Ice, which brought you to 10. Kevin hit the Meatloaf one, which brought him to 11. And then, but Kevin stole your X-Files one. That's where he got on you.
I like the steals. I like the elbows, man, because like you can double up and you have control of the next question. So that's a good play for sure.
What we're gonna do though, John, is we're gonna do an 80s pro trivia and a 90s pro trivia, and just bring in some of the big riders like yourself, and you can jump in with the 90s guys and redeem yourself.
Yeah. You can come back in again and lose. No problem, dude.
That was awesome. That was awesome, guys.
It was an honor. Thank you very much for playing. Thank you very much for joining us and sharing your stories. It's been a real pleasure, John. Thank you very much. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. It was an honor to meet you guys, and I'm just stoked, and just thank you to everybody, all the BMX world out there. Thank you for all the support, because like I said, it's not me, it's we. Thank you guys.
Awesome.
You. All right,
Thank
John.
you.
Peace out, man.
Peace out.
Good show, man. He's competitive, dude. I love that.
Hey, he's serious. He thinks he cheated, man.
Yeah, he's like, oh, no, I want to go over the points. I was like, hell yeah, dude, because he was so into it. He wanted to win. He didn't want, yeah.
I'm surprised that of all the games that we've played, it's taken somebody this long to question what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And full disclosure, I don't share questions with Kevin ever. I do the questions before the show. He doesn't really know what I'm going to ask. And I try not to do repeats the best I can. I know I have had repeats, but I try hard not to have repeats to give him an advantage. Yeah. And so that was fun, man.
Just for the record, for everybody to know, I think that Danny's questions are too easy. They're gimmies. I tell him every week, make the questions harder, and he refuses to do it. So just for the record out there, when he asked me who sang Sherwood Heaven, I was cringing inside last week with Tracer saying, come on, man, you got to ask a harder question. So,
well, remember, a lot of the questions are just strictly what I find on the internet. You know, with the exception of the BMX questions, I research and find those myself. But the other ones, but then I have this whole thing where I don't want to make them so hard that nobody can answer them, because then it's just a matter. I don't want to stare at you guys going, that's why I try not to make it too hard. Yeah. But anyway, man, I have some things I was going to share with you real quick before we wrap up. Sorry, I'm keeping you so long. It's Monday, and I know it's your day off. But so on Easter Sunday yesterday, my cousin James, man, first of all, I gave him back all his magazines. He gave me a box of magazines that I could use for my channel, and I reviewed all of them. I went through all of them. So it took me 2 years, Kev, to go through all his magazines. And I gave them all back to him in the original box, and they're all in the original covers, and I was happy to give them back. He gave me a stack of race videos that I could use now that I'm going to add to my channel. Hopefully I could do a video today where I'm going to start reviewing some of the transit videos. I got the Stu Thompson video. I've got a Greg Romero training video. He gave me a ton, I think Joe Kidd on the Stingray, which I already had that one. But I'm looking forward to going through. He even gave me a copy of Rad.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I'm super stoked. Now, here's the cool part. He's collecting Hot Wheels. So he gave me 5 Hot Wheels that are BMX related. This is the Schwinn Factory van.
Okay.
How cool is that one? And hey, in your opinion, should I leave these in the packages?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I won't take it. I was torn, dude. I'm like, do I take them out of the package?
Yeah, in the package.
Okay. He gave me the VW SE bus.
Okay.
That one's really.
Are these old, or are these like issued within the last couple of years or whatever?
My assumption is they're pretty new. He just got into the hobby of collecting these.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, this is really cool. And then he gave me, this is another SE one, but it's the camouflage bus.
Okay.
That one's really cool, right? And then there's a lot of SE ones. Here's another SE one. This is another camo bus, but it's red and yellow. So that's more modern.
Hold on.
All right.
John's still there. You're coming back in, John.
All right, John's back in. All right, so he gave me this one, right?
Okay.
And then the final one, this one is probably my favorite one. It's got an ABA logo on it. It's the Mongoose Factory one with the original Mongoose logos on the side of the van.
Oh, gosh, that's amazing.
That's awesome, right?
I mean, that's what we used to do. It was panel vans back in, like cargo vans. Same thing, Eagle Snacks. Like, that's just how you rolled. It was before, like, the box trucks. It's like you just had the vans.
I love these. Love these.
You know what did they make the Mongoose Suburban that Jeff Cosmolo was jumping over? I wonder if they made that one too. That'd be sick.
That exists, dude. That one does exist. He surprised me with these, and I was like, I was speechless. I'm like, dude, you're giving me these? He goes, yeah, man, I collect these Hot Wheels. I put these aside for you. I was like, that's freaking awesome, dude. Yeah. So I was just telling Kevin, John, I'm like, do I leave him in the packages? He goes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta leave them in the packages.
Hey, Joe, what was your favorite Hot Wheel back in the day? I got my favorite.
What, me?
Yeah. What was your favorite Hot Wheel?
Well, I mean, can I be younger or do I have to be older?
Yeah. Overall.
Well, I think I was big into like Scooby-Doo. Did Scooby-Doo have a Hot Wheel?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Mystery Machine? Yeah,
absolutely. Scooby-Doo. That's the first one that pops out in my mind. Scooby-Doo. It was awesome.
Dude, I had massive collection of Hot Wheels, man. They were all scratched up and beat up because I played with them.
I can agree with that. I had in my younger days, I had the little suitcase thing that you put them in, and
yes.
Oh my gosh, like that just like brought like a deep seated memory out of my mind. That was pretty amazing because I remember the little carrying case that you got with them that you had, and you had all your. Oh wow, that was awesome. Thank you.
Did you guys have the plastic Hot Wheel tracks? Because I went through a phase where I had a couple. Yeah, and I used to love playing with those too. And I was really into slot cars too.
Yes.
And it was like a treat for my mom to take me to Toys R Us so I can get a new Tyco slot car, man. And they had them all hanging up like they were in these packages like this.
Yeah.
They're like, oh man, which one do I want? It was like a big deal for me back then. Those are the hobbies outside of BMX that I love,
Yeah, simplistic too.
Yeah, definitely.
Early days of a simpler life.
Dude, my mom used to whip me with those Hot Wheel tracks, dude, when she got mad at me. I swear to God, dude. The Hot Wheel tracks and the paddle ball rackets they're like a ping pong paddle, but like really big.
Yeah.
And she used to whip me and my brother with those things and the Hot Wheel tracks, dude.
Oh my goodness.
Those things hurt like a mother, dude.
Wow.
Yo, John, Kevin was crazy as a kid though, dude. So he got what he deserved. Yeah.
Dude, we used to flex. So my mom used to say, bend over. So we would flex our cheeks together as hard as we can. And she'd go, whack. And then we would turn around and go, that's the hardest you can hit. And then she'd go, quit flexing. And we'd be like, okay, whatever. And then she'd go, whack again. Dude, we'd be laughing at her because we could flex our butt so tight that it wouldn't hurt that much, dude.
That there is an age that you do defeat the spankings. You really do, and you did. You defeated. They're not effective anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not effective anymore. Yeah.
Oh my
All right,
God.
man. So, hey, John, this is normally where Danny plugs his channel, and then we're gonna say goodbye. So, Danny, go ahead and plug your channel, bro.
Yeah, you can catch me on YouTube under Danny Pena BMX Racing. I do magazine reviews, BMX race reviews, all BMX content all the time. Please like and subscribe. And we're going to be making, John, get prepared, dude, because we're going to be making a lot of shorts out of this video.
You're going to see your face everywhere, man.
Yeah, it's going to be on there a lot.
Do you have anything you want to promote? I know you're doing tracks or something. Do you have anything you want to talk about? Close out? Promote anything like that?
Well, my thing is just gratitude, guys. Gratitude for being on this show, just BMX of what it's given me in my life, and whether it's racing or training or teaching riders, I just love to get back to the sport. A new position here with Action Sports Design, Mike McIntyre, building the next level of extreme bike parks moving forward. So I'm really excited about my future, and really have found a home here, and I'm able to stay within the extreme industry here, because you kind of get a little bit lost. When you're not riding anymore, and that one day comes that you're not AA pro and whatnot, and then you got to kind of go search for your next level. And I've been doing that for a while, and I found a home here, and
very good.
Really excited moving forward.
Hey,
him and his family.
John's on the clock right now, dude. We better get him. He better get back to work, man.
Hey, John, One fast one. Do you still throw your leg over a 20-inch bike every once in a while? Do you still grab?
No, I do. I still ride. I started, life kind of got a hold of me for, several years. I've always kind of coached. I'm coaching 2 riders in Australia at the moment, a female and a male, a 16 boy and a 15 girl. He just got part of the Chase BMX team. When I was doing the Sarasota BMX Academy, we were sponsored by Redline Bicycles first, and then they helped provide us with our rental fleet, and then we got it. Redline departed and exited, left, or changed the way they were doing things, and we were with Chase Bicycles. So the funny story, the big super loop with this whole thing was, being one of my biggest rivals was Christophe Lebec back in the day, and then now we work together, but I work promoting his line because he's got one of the most fabulous geometries out there. It's just a wonderful, and all of his staff, he's got some really, really good people behind him. Pete Delusky was one of my team managers on Mongoose and influential back in the day. So I still am around people around the BMX community, those people that actually did help me, because believe it or not, Pete Delusky was my last team manager when I was on Mongoose too. So it's it's just BMX is a small world. There's a lot of people that kind of resurface and go in different directions within our own community and stay there. And I'm just really, really fortunate to be able to, just kind of get back to the sport and just ride itself. With this track that they're building, it's kind of new level, for all wheels, and it's got me back on the bike. I was teaching some camps at first. The Delaware track, First State BMX, I think it's in Delaware. Yeah. I was doing some summer camps there in 2024, which was pretty cool. And then a little bit of life in between, and now back on the bike. So it's nice to ride and get back, but the teaching is what really is really rewarding, to get back to riders, because it just, Greg, even from, one of the earliest memories I have, teaching wise, believe it or not, this is another fun fact you can do, is Steve Eltman. I used to help Steve Eltman with his clinics. Yeah. I was younger than him, and our parents were on the same association for Armadillo Downs in Conroe, Texas. My parents, his parents, and I used to help him, teach his clinics, meaning I was the guy demonstrating stuff. John, do this, see what John's doing, I'd just go and do what I was doing. So teaching has been such an early thing, and that's what we did on Eagle Snacks too, is we gave clinics and we did the demonstrations in the parking lots and stuff like that. And it's just the natural tendency for us really to take what we've had and give it to other people. And I can see how rewarding it is, and just really how it manifests to this point with how important those days were with Greg Hill, and what that actually means now that I'm in that kind of a role, not in the same exact role in the industry, but the fact that I'm able to help riders, at whatever capacity it's so rewarding. I mean, it's just this next level rewarding, and it's like, those are the type of people that change your life. And that's what he did for me in my sport, and I'll be forever grateful for him and his family.
Hey, before we started, Danny, John asked me, how long is this podcast? I go, well, we normally go about an hour and a half, but Greg goes almost 3 hours. Dude, we could break Greg's record right now if we went for another 20 minutes.
Yeah, I see 2:25. Yeah, I mean, we could talk for another 2 hours. Dude, it's like, it's almost like you got to do part 1, part 2, part 3, I mean, there's just so much stuff that you try to do. It's this is my 45th season. 45th season. Whoa. Speaking of seasons, I'm not even to the 50th season. Have you had Eric Roop on yet?
We tried. We haven't got the timing down with Eric, so we're hoping. Yeah, we're still trying to get that nailed down, because he expressed some interest, but we just haven't got the timing on it yet. So we're hoping to get him on soon.
Yeah.
Dude, good luck. Yeah, you're gonna have to do some big team riding when you get to the whole industry.
The name of this episode will be team riding.
You're in so much trouble.
Yeah, that's the one.
You're in so much trouble when you get Eric online as far as the BMX trivia. Dude, he knows what colors his socks was when he won championships.
He corrects me all the time. Like, I'll drop video And he goes, actually, Danny, that was from this race, and that was from this year. And I'm like, damn, dude, I can't get anything past you. He catches all my mistakes.
I can't wait for that one. He's going to be next level, man. He's going to be next level on the BMX trivia. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're going
John,
to have your team riders. You're going to have to practice, guys.
I'm going to have to do sprints, man.
Hey, John, is there a chance you would go to Dirty Fest at all? Is that any chance you can make it to that?
I'm going to try because, like I said, life has happened for a while.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can kind of break some boundaries that I've been dealing with, and I would love to go to Dirty Fest. Where are we in Dirty Fest? When is it? Like, I have my phone from Texas. Cause when I bought the Academy, Jomo Sports, from like I bought the Academy line, and that's my new 941 line here in Florida. And then I had another line that I used for my former business, and but long story short is I still have my Texas line that I use for like maps on my phone and to monitor your whole auto insurance thing. But dude, when Mike Miranda pops up on your screen, or even Eric Root pops on your screen, it's just like I'm just in awe, man. It's like these are just such legends, and it's like Mike Miranda. I think we're gonna I almost did a podcast with him not too long ago, because I guess the way they do it is a little bit different. It's like sometimes you can get called on really quick to do it or whatever. And I missed the call because I didn't have that phone charged up. I kind of use it not so much. I should probably turn it off, but I don't because of that. Like you look at the phone like Mike Miranda's called. Oh my! It's just like it's just amazing to be in this position. Even I would say second. I say it almost like a second generation pro, 80s pro, not like a 90s pro versus 80s, but you had 70s, maybe I'm third generation, but to be in the even the conversations with these guys, just like, and he had mentioned, he invited me to Dirty Fest, but it's a California thing, right?
Yeah, Temecula, California. I think it's the weekend of June 6th, I believe.
Yeah, the first weekend.
But it's a weekend, right? It's a weekend?
Yeah, it's a weekend, yeah.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, because I've been wanting to go to the other one too.
Frogtown?
The what? Frogtown? Frogtown, yeah. I knew Frog. I was like, Frogtown. I've been wanting to do that one for a while, too.
Yeah, that one's in Northern California. Yeah, that one's a good one, too.
So what do you do on each one of those? You bring a bike to race, or do you have an old bike you race, or or you don't have to race, or?
Yeah, it's kind of like you're right in all aspects, because like last year, Kevin and I went and we hung out just so we could film stuff and just be in the environment. And then this year around, we're going to race it. But anything you can, I'm sure you got some '90s bikes kicking around. You could bring out and.
Man, I have a lot of stuff. I need to get majority of stuff's in storage. Between here and I still have storages in Texas, believe it or not, of my bike stuff because I never sold anything. Like I have everything. I may have let somebody borrow things.
You should.
I have like 99% of everything I ever had. You know what I mean? I have every check but one, and I gave that to Dave C. at Seattle Bike Supply when I won in Seattle at one of the Seattle Bike Supply Home State Nationals. I have that. He has one check, one. I have all the other ones. So it's like I kept everything. I love it. It's just part of it. But I've been told that I really need to share it with the world. Because I feel that I do owe the museum one. The Tulsa.
Oh. Yeah, the Hall of Fame. You got to get something to the Hall of Fame, John.
But I was thinking even to go big and like maybe give them multiple brands. Maybe give them because they want the 1997 AVA Pro Championship bike. But I was like, man, maybe I should do an NBL bike. Maybe a couple bikes would be kind of cool.
That's awesome.
Type. Because I even have the world champion. I don't know if I can do that one, but I do have the world championship frame that I raced on. So I have everything. It's just like
you got to get one of your jersey has to go in there too. Do you have a jersey you could get in there to the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, they have one of my Redline jerseys, but I do have some of I have the original blank. It's just a UCI jersey that was given to me, and then Dale Holmes, he was the defending champion from 1996, which was in England. So I have his jersey that he gave to me. in Canada. Then defending the championship in Australia, I gave my jersey to Thomas Allier because he had won.
Wow.
That was kind of how he got going on GT, was in 1998 from winning that world championship because he was on Sun as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. So yeah, I do have a lot of stuff, and I hope to one day just be able just to kind of take a deep breath and at least be able to sort through some stuff and wash things and maybe put them in a closet one day, you know, type scenario. Just special stuff. A lot of people like to give stuff away or throw things away, but I like to keep stuff. And but I'd like to share some stuff too someday as well.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You can bring a bike to Dirty Fest and show it off, dude. That'd be cool. All right, gentlemen. I have a huge honey-do list today for my wife, so I do have to get rolling. But thank you so much again, John. We appreciate it. Are you open to come back on?
I'm open to come anytime, whatever.
Nice. Yeah, because he's got a lot of stories. We got to go back.
And next time we'll let you bring a teammate on, and I'll go against two guys.
I'm bringing on the Big Daddy Eric Group. You're out there,
dude.
Come on with me. These two guys right here, the team riding. No more team riding. We're coming in elbows flaring, and dude, they're done. It's over. It's over.
All right, everybody, thank you very much. Thank you very much for joining in. If you like to support the channel, go to BMXPERTSPodcast.com. And until next week, Danny.
The track is closed.
Peace out, man. Thanks, John.
See you guys later.
Thank you.
Later.